Well, happy Friday afternoon. It is a beautiful day, and I am here in New York. It's about 3:30, later than usual. And I want to talk about opinions. I don't want to talk about my opinions, and I'm clear about that, and I'm very specific about that because I've got a lot of them. And what happens for me is if I start going ahead and putting my opinions out there along with everybody else's, it's just more noise. And I just don't want any more noise. But here's the thing. I think there was a time when, at least within my relationships, and when my relationships were really just all about face to face contact, that I could have an opinion and you could have an opinion, and we'd talk about it or hash it out, and maybe we disagree, but if there was love and trust and we knew each other long enough, we could agree to overlook certain differences in our opinions, right? Now, we've had like months, maybe years for some of us sitting behind a keyboard and hashing out opinions over this media. And it's so ineffective. And it has done, I don't think, as much for bringing us together as it has for pulling us apart. Because people can sit and they can fully express themselves and their opinions, but there's a lot of pressure, right? There's just this pressure around the kind of opinions you should have, or the way you're supposed to look at things. And a lot of that is governed by government, media, and then people following along a certain path, and what seems like more people following that path, so that if you are a person who has a point of view that's different than that path, you're kind of like, should I say anything? Or, you come out with your dukes up, right? So this morning, I was in a situation, a setting where we were talking about just thinking and problems with thinking, and two terms were used interchangeably. One was having mental obsessions, and the other was having mental illness. And for me, there's a clear delineation. And I don't want to get into what the delineation is, but in my own experience, I do suffer from mental obsessions and even some insane thoughts and behaviors, but I do not categorize myself as suffering from mental illness. And so for me, it's really clear to make that distinction, simply because for me, it's necessary to make that distinction. And I want to categorize myself as definitely being able to understand some abnormalities of the mind without actually having to label it as a certain thing or not label it as a certain thing. Because I think as soon as you start to categorize and label, things become a bit more of a package, and then people start to say certain things and do certain things within that label or within that package. And I'm actually trying to divest myself of labels and packages and things that society tells me this is this and that is that, and this is how this is this and for you, and this is how this should be for you, and this is how that should be for you. And the past couple of years for me have been an incredibly beneficial and fruitful time of hashing out my opinions about what was going on in the world, because I was feeling extremely jaded. I was feeling extremely disrupted by a lot of the things that I saw going on that just absolutely 100% did not resonate with who I am as a human being, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. And yet, for me, it's extremely crucial to open my mind up to like examining these things, to looking at the things that I'm like, well, I don't believe that's a crock of shit, and just being like, well, let me just take a look at that. Let me just see what's happening over there. Let me see, read more about what this is, what people think, how it's come about, and that could be anything from politics to human history to race, sex, gender issues. I mean, anything and everything, because I refuse to just sit in my puny little fucking arrogant opinion and not open my mind up to the idea that there are ways of thinking that have nothing to do with my self-righteousness, right? And now, this is what's interesting, is that in some ways, when I did do that mind opening, when I did do that investigation, I did become more firmly entrenched in my opinion. But here's the thing, when I open my mind and I allow myself to be educated and energized by all the different dialogues, I can have an opinion and not be so stuck in it. I can be like, oh, well, this is what I believe, and I can just believe that. And I can say, well, I don't buy into the fact that everybody should be vaccinated. I don't buy into the fact that this type of person is this issue in the world is such a big deal. I don't buy into the fact that in business I'm going to be a victim of sexism. And that doesn't mean that those things don't exist, and it doesn't mean that those things are not true. And it doesn't mean that there aren't other people that I love who have the opposite opinion. And this is a beautiful thing. I mean, I never want to let go of some of my peeps who think totally different than me. And this is a place where you find balance and you find peace. Is like when you can just sit in the fact that I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to know life. I'm going to know who I am. I'm going to increase my self-awareness. I'm going to have opinions. I'm going to look at things. I'm going to, examine them, throw them up, toss them around, figure it out, do some more examining. And I might come home to the same place, but it's the same place that's been given a little bit more mercy and tolerance for everybody else. And I think that's a good thing. So happy Friday to you all. I hope you're enjoying your day. Thanks for spending a minute or two with me.